This is Sam Williamson, and welcome to another special edition of As the World Works. Today, I have the honor of having my neighbor and friend, Candy Evans, also known for everything in the world, including CandysDirt.
Dirt.
And some other interesting scoop that we'll get into here in a little bit. Welcome, Candy.
Thank you so much. It is so great to be here in this beautiful contemporary mid-century modern house, I may add, because I always have to look at the house, right?
Thank you.
And see what the house is all about.
That means everything.
Yeah,
Tell us a little bit about CandysDirt. I'm sure a lot of people out here know about, kind of your world and what CandysDirt's all about. And I actually just got the connection of dirt and dirt.
Dirt and dirt.
I just got it.
You just got it.
I just got it.
Well, that's okay. You got it. That's the important thing.
Well, I have a little fog from the last year. Actually, we met a year ago on the trail, which is a great trail.
Oh, it's the best.
And
which is right near this house, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we just passing, and there's this big, beautiful smile, this gorgeous pup, and
your little boy was like,
Max.
"Oh, the puppy."
That's right. We chatted and then reconnected when the gates opened up after the lockdown a little bit more, and we're on the trail. So we started talking and connecting, and then here we are.
I know, it's great. And, And it was kind of something I've always wanted to do, but it's amazing how much you thought you had all this time during the lockdown to do this and that, and I did nothing. I got a puppy, I walked, I did, I kind of got out and did all that fun stuff, and the trail was a great outlet because you felt like you were on the main drag, seeing people. It was 77 Sunset Strip.
Yeah, right? We're talking about North Haven Trail.
North Haven Trail, which is right here in North Dallas. So anyhow, I am the founder and publisher of CandysDirt.com. As you know, media, everything has changed so dramatically, and it started changing 10 to 20 years ago. But I saw it 10 years ago solidly changing, and I knew that everything was going to be going online. I knew that print was in its dying phase, which I think that that COVID kind of accelerated, and that we would be consuming our information with technology and digitally. As soon as the phones, wasn't just the laptops, but when the phones started becoming the small little computers, in our hand, is when I knew that that's where we'd be getting our news from. I've always been fascinated with real estate. I've always written about real estate, and I always kind of wanted to know what people paid for their homes. Very nosy, very nosy.
You actually, speaking of that though, like for example, you exposed a story or dropped the Broke the story on the Bushes moving to town.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. That's back when I was I actually started all this when I was at DMagazine.
Okay,
and
that's right.
They didn't want to keep, I'm a journalist by training. Went to school, majored in, English, and then got my master's in journalism at Columbia, where actually I ran into my husband again after I'd run into him at Dartmouth. And so it all kind of worked out where we came to Texas. And of course, the first thing I wanted to do when we got here was buy a house. And he's like, that's for grown-ups, not people with medical school debt, And I'm like, no. We need to get a house because we need to get going because everyone's going to be buying homes. And I just kind of always had this real estate brain. So I was at DMagazine and I was writing about home and home design. And I said, I think we need a real estate blog. And they were like, well, knock yourself out, do it. Can't pay anything for it, but, just enjoy it. And so I did create it, and it was sort of like a test market, a Petri dish, to see how popular and how many readers I would get. And I think that I may have told you when we met on the trail that when I broke the story about the Bushes moving here, I was like determined to find out what home they bought, where they bought, and I can be very persistent sometimes. And I found it, and it was crazy because I wrote this story on it was a Wednesday evening, and at 7 o'clock I hit publish. And then I had left a message at the White House saying, I've got this information.
I just left a message at the White House.
I've got this story, where you're gonna live when you move to Dallas. Now, I don't know did I tell you how I found out about that?
Sort of.
Sort of.
Well, I'm just stopping at the 1-800 White House. I guess there's a number that you call. Yeah, go ahead. So how did?
Well, I had been looking and looking and looking and talking to other realtors, and they knew I was on the outlook for this, as was Steve Brown, I'm sure, at the Dallas Morning News. And every time I'd hear about a house where a big black suburban was there, with the Secret Service and Laura was looking, I'd be like zoning in on it. So I heard about this happening over in the Daria area off of well, it's basically North Evan, or what is that street up there? It's on the other side of Preston from us. And then I found a home that had sold. It was a ranch home, and I was sure it was a tear down, just sure it was going to be a tear down. And I was like, of course, this is the home that they bought. And so I called the realtor up, who I knew because I'd carpooled with her, and she said, oh my God, it was like dealing with Madam X. Madam X is an old movie that's kind of a classic that you'd have to know about. So anyhow,
Yep.
So I said, this has got to be it. And so I started calling the neighbors to see how they would like having the president as their next door neighbor. Is that going to be cool? Are they going to have Secret Service? Are they going to worry about, being attacked or whatever? What's the deal? And so one neighbor was kind of like, they didn't answer the phone. And I heard through other neighbors, they were like, whatever. The other neighbor turned out to be an accountant in Midland, Texas. And I'm like, how could he be an accountant in Midland, Texas and live here? And I'm like, oh, he is Bush's accountant. So I Googled that. And so he had bought the home in his name. So they actually had two homes. They bought the home that they live in now, and then they bought the home next door to tear down and use the acreage for either future construction or for Secret Service. And that's actually where I think the Secret Service stayed for a long time. So I published that story, went to a dinner party. The next morning, the server at D was broken. My phone was exploding, and just exploding with not just local news media, which I kind of thought would happen, but it was what the Washington Post, it was Newsweek, it was the New York Times, it was Paris Match, it was German. I mean, it just set off this frenzy,
One story,
and it reached so many people. So it's kind of like, I am sort of an efficiency expert. I pride myself on like trying to do things efficiently. I'm like, this is pretty damn efficient.
Yeah.
I mean, I reached a lot of people with one little story, and this medium is damn efficient. And I knew at that point that print was going to have a tough time, because you can never, ever, ever reach that many people with print.
What was the section called in DMagazine?
I called it DallasDirt.
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 So that was the beginning of the evolution to CandysDirt.
The evolution, exactly.
Interesting.
I also started a site called secondshelters.com while I was at D, because I believed that people back then would be having more and more second homes. And of course, everyone thought I was crazy and said, people aren't going to have second homes. I said, yeah, they are. They're going to have ranches. They're going to want safe getaways. They're going to want places in the country. Well, when this whole pandemic thing started, all my clients kind of wrote to me and said, oh my God, are we ever going to sell homes again? And I said, you are going to sell so many homes. You're going to sell millions of homes, especially in the country and on the lakes, where people are going to want to get away because they're going to want to escape the city now. And that's exactly what's happened.
Yeah.
So Second Shelters is thriving too, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Very well.
What is it?
Secondshelters.com.
Okay.
We include everything on Second Shelters on CandysDirt,
okay,
like a little tease or something.
Gotcha.
So CandysDirt is like our main focus. And we called it, instead of calling it DallasDirt, which, by the way, do own the rights to now.
Nice.
Nice, yes. Little trademark there. Instead of doing that, we decided to call it CandysDirt, because we knew that, maybe we want to go to Fort Worth, maybe we want to go to San Antonio. We knew that Dallas is so unique, because there's a city here that's 6 million people, something like that. No, it's not even that big. It's 3 million. It's the Metrotex. It's 6 or 7 million. This city is pretty big, but it's not that big. It's our whole regional area. And that goes from Rockwall to Palo Pinto. I mean,
right.
It's just huge, and it goes north. And so we want to cover that, and it's becoming, it's a harder job to do, but we're doing it because we're starting to get writers. I have 12 writers too.
Yeah.
So we have a whole staff.
You're the top influencer in North Texas in residential real estate.
Exactly.
So how does that feel?
It's scary. It's scary, and it's kind of fun. I get a little confused sometimes. I will see things in my kids' homes, and I'll go, wait, didn't you have a hot water dispenser before? No, we never had one. Oh, I thought you had a pot filler over the stove. Yeah. There was some home I looked at, right? So like...
Yeah. Yeah.
I look at a lot of homes.
So is it the dirt still that sort of drives, obviously we were talking about dirt and the expensive dirt in Dallas and Fort Worth and Texas in
Oh, it's
general.
getting more pricey.
Yeah, it's getting more pricey.
Yeah.
Our house is a commodity.
Yeah.
Any house that's on the market is a commodity,
And
right?
there's so few of them. Too. That tornado helped us. It was so funny. Where was I recently?
Oh, I'm glad to be of help.
Oh, no. Well, we just were talking to someone the other day, like, well, we had a tornado, and then we had COVID, then we had an ice storm, and like we've been through a lot. But we're tough people. Think of what the pioneers went through, for God's sakes. They didn't come out here and exactly have a country club waiting for them, did they?
No.
With polo, no.
Yeah, they just stopped here. You can keep going west,
Yeah,
and now they're coming back.
And they're coming back.
So what is it? So we can talk about architecture. We can talk about. There's a couple things I want to talk about, particularly until we meet again, because we have to do a take two at some point. Because this is way. I know your time is precious right now because she is running for Dallas City Council.
District 11, right
District
here.
11.
Actually, technically across the street, in the middle of the road, which is very busy now, so we're not going to go draw the line. But
it's like there, I think.
It's right there, I know. And it's kind of exciting because I think there is a change coming in Dallas, and I hope to be a part of it, of a real return to basics. And that's my whole platform. And I've been working on that over the last couple of weeks, and it's basically, public safety, infrastructure, making our lives really good. Things like the trail, which is really great, but I want to see that cultivated in all of District 11 because everyone, we love it. That's our quality of life. The trail really keeps our home values up here too.
Interesting. Sorry, this is the second time you run, correct?
Yes. And I lost, of course. That's why I'm running again. I lost against an incumbent. And it's really hard to beat an incumbent. Now we're at an open seat. But there's a lot of folks running. I think a couple joined since the last time we talked, too. Or maybe, I think there's 4 people now.
4 people now.
Which I'm actually kind of excited about because I think it's great that people get involved and want to, to legislate and get into their city like that and care about it enough.
Yeah. What is it that, what are the issues? You just mentioned a few, but what are the ones that I just keep repeating myself that really tug at your heart, or the issues that were the catalyst to you?
Public safety
running?
Is really important because I want to feel safe in my home, and I know you want to feel safe. You want your wife, your child to feel safe. We had this horrible murder here last May, just right across the street, in that neighborhood, and that just shouldn't happen. I mean, it shouldn't happen. We unfortunately let our police numbers get too low in Dallas, which I predicted when I ran 4 years ago. I said, we're going to have some problems, folks, coming down the road. And we do. We've got this, 8% increase in crime now in this district. The other thing that's kind of bubbled to the surface in the last few days has been the homeless. The homeless are now coming into the intersections. They're making homes at the embankment under 75 Central and 4th Lane. And also down here at Royal Lane at 75 too. And it's really unfortunate because we do have the resources to help these people. I mean, gosh, we've got psychologists and experts and sociologists and everything who know what to do. These are folks who don't want the help that is offered in the other settings that we have, and they just kind of want to do their own thing. And I'm even wondering if we've always had like homeless people in society who didn't want to, conform to the way the rest of us live. I mean, maybe we have to think about this, what we can do to make their life, safe and secure and respect their wishes, and also, keep us from having to deal with, the inconvenience of maybe, going somewhere and having someone run in front of your car. So you've got to stop, they're in a wheelchair trying to get money from you or something. Let's take care of them so they don't have to do this.
Yeah, you talk about Metroplex too, and efficiencies that one of your strengths are is efficiency. And then you talk about this sort of dinosaur of a Metroplex that's slow moving and and so finding those efficiencies and actually executing on those, it seems like there's kind of this abyss in between that. So hopefully you can, when you win, because you have my vote.
Thank you.
Can do some things. I'm born and raised native Dallasite.
Well, don't you think someone has to move their butt down to the building place down on Jefferson and say, I am not leaving here. I'm camping out until you get your act together.
100%. Yeah.
That is the big, and you know, being in the building business, how
Right.
horrible it is because they just cannot get the permits going. And the problem is that people will go to Plano. They're like, oh, do you want this tomorrow or did you want it yesterday? And it happens. And therefore you're getting the building and you're getting the progress there and you're not getting it here. And this reminds me of Midtown in Valley View, which is one of the big problems up there is, first of all, we've had multiple owners because everyone goes, why is that such a mess? I mean, first of all, shopping centers. Oh my God, I met with a real estate guy yesterday, retail, because we're starting to do some commercial real estate reporting on CandysDirt. So here's a little scoop for you. You're going to be
Here we go.
Commercial Corner is coming. I'm handpicking people from different specialties who really know their stuff, and they're going to be writing about it. So my hotel guy introduced me to my retail guy, and retail is so bad. It's getting so bad as far as retail real estate. He was telling me that it used to be one of the core four commercial real estate, components that people would invest in.
Yeah.
They're pulling it out. They are pulling it out. They're putting it down there with hospitality and medical and all this other stuff. It's not even going to be seen as a core investment anymore. It's so bad.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a slow bleed, he said. He doesn't think it's going to be like, off the cliff already. But you're just going to see, fewer and fewer retail establishments surviving, which is so sad.
Yeah.
But what happened was it was already hurting from the internet. And then COVID, was just another, nail in the coffin.
We were talking about, the last time we talked about, so you moved to Dallas in 1980 and seeing so many different real estate cycles.
Yes.
But also actually seeing, speaking of retail, Prestonwood Mall, actually, under construction and then get demoed. You're getting a little bit older when an entire mall is built. And Cade, on camera, you probably don't remember that construction of Prestonwood Mall.
Oh, I remember.
It was a place out in north that was as far north Dallas as you could go.
I went there to Neiman's the day before we left for our wedding in Chicago to buy mascara and stuff. It was like, oh my God, I'm going to Neiman's, buying mascara for my wedding, I mean, these places you remember, they're like little markers on your life, And then like with Valley View, I was aghast the other day. I was doing some research and I was like, Valley View just started, it opened right before we moved to Dallas. So it was relatively new. And Valley View is now going to become Midtown. And it's not going to be shopping anymore. It's going to be, office. It's going to be residential. It's going to be some retail. But it's going to be, hopefully, a thriving community. But the city has not really helped get that puppy going, which is ridiculous because the potential for it.
Yeah, that area
is
one of those that people don't look at, right? Your district, right there.
It's right in the district. It could be the star. It could be the golden child of our district, which I intend for it to be. That's one of my goals. And then you drive north on Preston, this Preston corridor up to Beltline, and it's a wasteland. And all the incumbent and his people, who are also running, have done for the last 8 years is put gas stations in it. I'm like, gas stations, for God's sakes, I mean, that's ridiculous. Can't we find some better, residential real estate or something up there? And so I'm talking to real estate people about this, about what can we get in there and what can we do. And they're telling me about some interesting things where warehouse is really big right now. But what you do is you kind of get creative. You have the warehouse in the back. In the front, you've got a little bit of retail and just enough to kind of make it pretty and stuff. And yet you're getting some use from that because with people buying more and more on Amazon and through the mail, warehouse is the sweet darling of commercial real estate right now. So that is a big thing we're looking for. So shopping is not, unless it's a grocery store, unless it's a place where you need to go get your provisions, be it a Costco or something like that.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. I mean, retail is really going to be taking a turn, a bit of a turn down.
Yeah, in general, right? I have a few friends in that world, Fidelis and Rick Ho and those guys. There's another, like Tony Long. I don't know. He was a colleague of mine at Trammell Crow. He was on As the World Works in one of the early episodes. He now has a development capital group that did the big Amazon distribution industrial space out near the airport, and now Amazon's doing several more. And but that is the sweet spot in commercial right now.
And
right?
it doesn't look nice, but if you can fluff it up on the front so it looks nice and throw a little retail in there, or throw there is still, and we're working, and this is the story that this guy's going to work on. I'll tell you a little bit more about it, about experiential retail, where you go in and you have an experience. It's like Apple. Of course, again, COVID killed all that, because like even Apple was closed. I don't know about you, but I had to get a Genius Bar appointment. It was like, it just wasn't happening. So one day I just went to Fort Worth because they were taking them, you know. So I literally drove to Fort Worth to get my Apple appointment, you know, because I could get it there and the line was shorter and I could wait in the car and all that stuff. This is right after everything opened up. But no, I mean, retail is going to take on a whole different look. Now, there's a store that I heard about yesterday. I'm really excited. It's in the Colony. It's called Shields, and it's a sporting goods store.
Okay.
And it opened up here near Nebraska Furniture Mart, which is, of course, another thing. Because these are all up north, you know. Well, I'm like really kind of zeroing in on the Shields thing. I'm like, why can't we have something like that here in District 11, right up there where we have all this great space? You know, why do they go up there? What do they do to get them up there? So, and this is a really cool company that is growing, whereas, you know, you're hearing about theaters are shutting down and filing for Alamo Draft House, you know. I mean, tough business right now. All the theaters are shuttering and, you know, looking for Chapter 11 protection. But there are a few companies that are making it. And if you can make it now, I want to know what you're doing, and I want to clone you.
The company, I mean, residential's crushing it right now.
I'm talking about commercial.
Yeah. Oh,
commercial.
yeah.
If you're talking retail commercial right now,
commercial.
If you're cutting it now and you're growing and you're expanding, we want to know about it, because it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Now, residential is killing because everyone wants to be home.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's been a big driver. Yeah. There's so many forces at work, though.
We only have 3 months of inventory on the market in Dallas,
interesting?
So it's hard to look for a home, and it's keeping a lot of people from selling because they don't know where they want to go. And I tell people, I say, you should find a place to go. If you can swing it, you might want to buy something and have it. Yeah. Before you sell, because you will sell in this market. I mean, things are selling.
And some people are just maybe reticent right now to show their home too.
Yes,
for
exactly.
having strangers
That's
in their house.
Very, very good point, and that is happening now. I think it's opened up a little bit more, but I mean, you really don't want strangers tripping through your home when we're in the middle of a pandemic, you know.
Yeah.
So, and I think that we will all be a little stricter about showings, and have some more requirements as far as, maybe, washing your hands before you come in the house. Yeah. And stuff like that. I do know that we had some problems with some open houses recently in this area where folks at the open houses, and beware of this with yours too. And some crazy people just came in and started beating, and they had to call the police, and, they're just kind of driving.
Oh, we had somebody show up, just say, knock, knock. Yeah. We see the sign out. Can we come in? Yeah. Can we just go ahead and come in? Yeah. You're like, no.
And they're
call our agent.
Or stealing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So we got to a couple of quick points. One is we talked about this. Actually, let's talk about this next time, because I know you're running out of time. But I want to plant a seed. Next time I want to talk about what Dallas style is.
We should do
architecture, a whole thing about what is Dallas, what is that.
And let me interview some architects ahead of time.
Let's do it.
Because I think I think that's a good question. In fact, if anyone from the audience wants to do some input on that,
that'd be great.
Yeah, feel free to email me at news@CandysDirt.com.
Yeah.
Because I'd really love to know what you think Dallas architectural style is. I said it was a mix of, what did I say, mid-century modern and Mediterranean. Yeah. Kind of the MM. Yeah. But because I've seen that. Although we have, I think I told you too about I almost bought a house a couple months ago, maybe before COVID. I fell in love with a mansard roof house on over on Inwood Road, off of Inwood on North Haven, the other end of the trail, and it was just such an elegant 60s looking home. I called it Grace Kelly. I mean, it was just like I could put pearls on this house and just feel so cool there, and just like always together. And then I was like, no, you're not going to buy this house. It's just as big as yours. It's it's 20 years older. This is crazy, But I mean, this happens to me. It does. I go through these things and I'm like, oh my God. So I found a home for auction that happens to be, the auction is on our anniversary. It's in Florida. And I told my husband, I said, you want to buy me a nice little anniversary gift? It's in Florida.
This house right here.
By the way, Florida, hottest market ever because everyone from New York left is going down there.
For sure.
Like, the prices are just
Yeah,
high.
have some friends that moved from here just recently to sort of the Panhandle.
Florida's going to be a powerhouse state.
Really?
Big powerhouse state. Watch in the next 10 years.
Interesting.
Just growing, just like we are. And we are doing so well. We need to talk about the Californians coming.
Yep.
And then we need to talk about, and you kind of experienced that a little bit too, haven't you? The Californians looking at your house and liking it.
Yes, we did. We have two New Yorkers. We've only had the market for 3 days. And we've had two Californians and couple Californians and 2 New York cities that have come through. So no one local so far, which is interesting. Yeah. Next thing we're going to get to, though, is the next time Candy comes over. We're going to talk about her start out of school. She mentioned her master's in journalism. We're going to talk about how she got that job and previous to that, her life as a stripper.
You remember that? That is so awesome.
And
that's what I wanted to be when I was little.
It's perfect to be a story. So we'll leave you hanging there for the rest of that scoop. And Candy, thanks for coming. We'll do it again real soon, okay?
I look forward to this. I've got it down now. This is great. I roll with it.
You got it dialed in. So 2 websites, 3 actually.
Well, it's CandysDirt.com.
Right.
And then secondshelters.com, which you will get if you go to CandysDirt.com. That's CANDYS, no apostrophe, and squish it all together. And then if you're interested and you live in District 11, it's Candy for Dallas, which is my city council site, which is all glowing and polished and has had its facelift. So we're real happy with that.
Vote Candy.
Thank you.
Here you go.
Thank you so much. Yeah, election is May 1st. So thank you.
All right.
We'll talk.
Thank you guys. We'll talk about all that then.
Yeah,
perfect.
All the dirt.
Sounds good. See you guys next time. Later.